Hey everybody, it's Rain, and today I'm going to show you how to wash alpaca fiber to prepare it for worsted style spinning. Right here are all of my tools that I use to scour wool and wash alpaca fiber. This is just a salad spinner. You can get it at Walmart. And I also have these baskets that are used for like water planting your plants. I got them at Lowe's. They're only like $2 a piece. I have 4 of them. And then I love this. I have a litter box that comes with the strainer lid like this, and then it has the other 2 baskets underneath. And this is my favorite method for washing alpaca fiber, is the litter box. And I also have mesh laundry bags. I think they work best for scouring wool. It doesn't really get alpaca clean enough for me, and it felts it too easy. And I have my big tote right here. It's a 15-gallon tote. I love that the lid snaps on. It really keeps the heat in when you're trying to scour really heavy lanolin wool. And also I'm able to keep all of the lanolin water and dirt and everything that comes out of the wool out of my septic system. And everything fits conveniently in the tote. Perfect. If you want to see how I prepared this fiber, it'll be linked in the cards if it's available. If not, it's going to be available next week. Subscribe for more. It's going to be step 1.5 on flicking the tips of your fiber. And here's my setup. I just use it in the bathtub, and I have some dishwashing gloves. You don't have to wear gloves because the water is not going to be hot enough to burn your hands. I just wear them because the soap bothers my hands. Right here I have some alpaca. I'm going to show you 2 methods. I'm going to show you the litter box method, that is my personal favorite, and the other method of the water baskets. Now the water baskets, I feel like the fibers do get a little more tangled. You have to be a little more gentle with the water basket since it is water coming in from all sides and the bottom. But they both work just fine. And I feel like the water baskets get it cleaner a little faster. Now this fiber wash from Unicorn Fiber is literally the best for washing alpaca, especially the orange clay stained alpaca. It really gets the job done. And if you can't afford that, I would recommend the Ivory dish soap. The Ivory dish soap is clear, which I like to use a clear dish soap when I wash yarn that's dyed. So that's why I use it, and it smells amazing. I use about 2 tablespoons of it per usually 2 baskets. It'll clean 2 baskets of fiber, and I love to add just a little bit of baby shampoo. I feel like it really helps get all the dust and dirt out. Now I'm using the dish soap and the baby shampoo in the big tote, and I'm using just the fiber wash, and I'm only using probably about a teaspoon in each wash of the litter box method. And you just want to mix it around a little bit. And this water is not hot, it's just room temperature water. Now I'm going to add my alpaca. It's going to want to stick to you, so you have to be very gentle and take your time pushing it down. What I do is I will hold the basket just a little bit out of the water and get the fiber submerged just enough to start getting the air out, and then I'll slowly lower the basket all the way down and give it one big final push down. And I'm going to do the same thing with the litter box method. Just hold it up enough to barely submerge it, push it down. And I recommend with any fiber that you get to do a test wash. Just get enough for a small batch and give it a test run, wash it, and take it easy just to see how much it can take to make sure that you're not going to felt it. I do that with every single fleece that I get, alpaca or wool. You're going to want to let this soak after you get it completely submerged for around 20 minutes. You can even let it soak longer since your water is not hot. You don't have to worry about it felting. I recommend, if you have a really dirty, dusty alpaca, to let it soak in just water for a couple hours. That way it starts getting all the dust and dirt broke down before you even add your soap. Sometimes I feel like that helps but you still have to wash it about 4 or 5 times, especially if it's the orange stained alpaca like I have here. Alright, and 20 minutes later, that's what we're left with. As you can see, still needs a wash. I gently push the fiber down to get all the excess water off of it. Look at that dirty water. Wow. And here's our basket. I do the same thing. Just give it a gentle push. Get all that excess water out. And now here's how I empty my tote. I use a bucket to get most of the water out so I don't destroy my back picking up all that water in that bucket, and get it down to just a little bit left and then pour it out. Now, I like to pull apart my fiber. Some people may disagree with this, but this alpaca fiber that I have here, I know that it can take it. I've washed it. I've already washed a whole blanket of it, and I know that this fiber can take it being pulled apart like this. And it really, really helps get that orange staining out. If you don't do this, I don't know how you can get the dust out, because I've tried letting it soak hours and hours, and there's just no way to get that dust that's trapped in between the fibers out. Because when you wash alpaca, it literally just flattens and it turns into one giant flat piece of fiber, and if you agitate it too much, you're going to felt it into just a flat piece of fiber. So I just go through and I gently pull apart the fiber, very gently, just at the tips. I don't mess with the cut end at all. Just barely pull it apart where I see a lot of the orange and the dust still stuck in, and it does not felt. Now my basket did get a little tangled, but it did not felt, and the fiber is gorgeous. And after I pull the tips apart like so, I just kind of try to put it back in the same position so it doesn't get all tangled up. Alright, on to the second wash. Same amount of baby shampoo, same amount of dish soap. Mix it around. Submerge your basket nice and gently. Definitely recommend getting enough water to go just above your fiber. Not to the point where it's floating a lot, because that will cause it to get tangled a lot easier. Same amount of fiber wash, and I try to match my water temperature to the same water temperature that I poured out before. That way you're keeping it the same water temperature. And it's a lot better if you push it down with just your fingertips. It's not breaking the surface tension of the water using your whole hand if you're having problems with it getting tangled using your whole hand. And here is wash number 3. As you can see, those orange tips have almost gone. There's just a few little spots left. Do the same thing, push all the water out. Whew, that's some dirty water. And here's our basket. It's looking about the same. Now at this point, I don't go through and pick apart the whole fiber again. I just pick apart the parts that look the dirtiest. You just want to get that little last bit of dirt out. This was after about a 20-30 minute soak. Wash number 3. And you know the deal. Do the same thing again. As you can see, that water was getting a lot less dirty. Now at this point, you want to be very, very gentle. Be extra gentle, pulling the fiber apart. Just in the dirty spots, nowhere else. This is a shot not sped up. Alright, and we're lowering in for our fourth and final wash. Just gently push it down. Same with your basket. I added a little too much water on this last wash, but that's okay. And here's the result after the 4th wash. Getting all that excess water out. And you could wash it another wash if you wanted to, but I find it doesn't make a difference if you wash it again. That's why I only wash it 4 times, because it's going to stay the same color either way. I get a little bit of water in my tote and rinse all the bubbles out, and I do the same thing in my litter box method. And then I fill it up just enough to submerge the fiber, and then we're going to dump that and rinse again. You just want to gently push down, rinse it, dump your water, get a little more, rinse it again, dump your water. I usually rinse it twice, and that does a good enough job for me. Dump my final water out, and I leave it in the bathtub to dry for a little bit. Now here is our litter box method. As you can see, it pulls apart nice and easy, and I just roll it up. It'll come apart in one big piece if you prepared it like I show you in step 1.5. It should be linked in the cards by next week, or if you're watching this at a later date, it'll be linked right now. I squeeze my water out, do not wring it out. And then you just pull your fiber apart. You want to grab the tip ends. You want to find a tip end and just pull on it. What we're trying to do here is find the tip of a lock and pull it out. And you are going to have some other fibers that stick to it, and that's why when you pull it apart like that, the fibers are longer than the staple length that you started with. We pretty much just want all the fibers to go in one direction so that we can further refine it into perfect locks for combing later on. And plus, making it into smaller, more manageable pieces helps it dry a lot faster. So I give it a little zhuzh around, and then I'll spin it out one more time after I dump the water out. And here's my bleach stained towel that I use for all my wool stuff. Just dump it out and spread it out in one layer and let it dry for about, usually I let mine dry for about a day or a day and a half. And also, don't use your salad spinner for salad after you use it for wool or alpaca. Here is our basket method. It got quite a bit tangled up in the process. So you just gently want to pull it apart into smaller, more manageable pieces before you start separating it out into locks. So you just want to find your tip ends like I showed you before and just give a gentle pull. See there? And it'll pull right apart. If it doesn't pull apart, you have either felted it or it's really, really tangled and you just need to tease it apart a little bit. And if it still is really hard to pull apart, it's definitely felted. As you can see, if you tease it apart like this and then you don't have to pull very hard for it to come apart like I'm doing in the video, then it's not felted, it's just tangled and you just need to tease it open a little bit. Beautiful fiber, nice wet alpaca fiber, and look how white it is. It came quite white. Alright, day and a half to a day. And here it is, all nice and dry. And now we get to do my least favorite part, but it's worth it. I store my alpaca in big Ziploc bags like this, nice and labeled. So you want to take your dry partial locks, as I like to call them, and find a tip end and just pull it apart. And then you want to kind of flick your wrist to make sure that the pieces line up together in a parallel, side by side, nice and straight. Flick your wrist and lay them together like so. And we're going to do this with the entire batch. I like to make a little pile. Just flick your wrist and lay it on top. And this time we are separating the locks. Now this is just the way I do it. I do not line up the tip end and the butt ends all facing one direction for my worsted spun yarn. Now, if you think about it, unless it's a cria, it's a first shear alpaca, then the cut end and the tip end are virtually going to be the same. The only difference is going to be the cuticle of the fiber. And I know some people can say that they feel a difference, but I have never felt a difference. I have combed it with tip ends all facing one direction and then spun it from the lock with butt ends all facing one direction, and I've never found a difference. I get the same amount of neps and the same exact type of comb top. So if you want to make comb top, just know that you can use my technique and you don't have to have the tip ends all facing one direction. Now this goes for alpaca. The cuticle is a lot smoother on alpaca. With wool, I do try to keep them facing the same direction. And once you get a little bundle like this, take your bag, and I like to pick it up just like so, keep them all facing the same direction, just like so, and stick it right in the middle of the bag. And any other bundles after that, I'll put it right on top, right in the middle, so they're all facing the same direction. And I'm going to do that with all the rest of this fiber, and I'll show you what we get at the end. So here's what we ended up with. They're all perfectly lined up, all nice and neat, ready to comb. I'm going to show you in my next video the way that I lash them on, and I'm able to make a beautiful combed top with this alpaca. I like to squeeze all the air out, store it nice and flat just like that. It doesn't hurt the fiber at all. And here is some of the comb top that I've made with this exact fiber. It's from the same alpaca, the same blanket. And it is lovely. It's so soft. And I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've learned a few things, maybe some new techniques for your washing. And I can't wait to see you in the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.